Maybe. Yeah. No, well, actually, we're going to get there. Yeah, we'll get to some turrets and some cannons and all that fun stuff. All right. First off, I oopsed. I went off script with the script last week. Pun intended, I guess. And so the ping pong that we had, making our little guns go up and down, I mean projectile launchers, because we were using math dot ping pong, math f dot ping pong here, this guy. If I hover over this guy, look, ping pong returns a value that increments and decrements between 0 and the length. It follows the triangle wave formula, blah, blah, blah. The bottom is at 0, the peak is set to length. So using that little snippet of code that we grabbed, wherever we had our little pickup in the world, it would start at 0. So if you had a pickup up on top of a tower, you weren't going to see it because it was actually under the tower at 0. My bad. Yeah, we just grabbed some code. It worked in the prototype, and we didn't look into it further. So there were some other issues with people had missing weapons and missing pickups and like what's going on. And I think we addressed most of those either on the Discord for the class or in quite a few private messages on Discord. But yeah, that was the problem with possibly if you had a weapon that was not sitting at ground level to start with, and then you're like, where'd it go? That's what happened. It went to 0. So no harm, no foul in grading those. And my bad. Sometimes we grab code from the internet, all the time, and we should know what it is. Not always we do, though. Yeah, I know. No, I'm literally the worst person in the history of the world. Please write this down. Make a record of it. So my fix was that. Just that. And I just found this morning because I was trying to figure out what Thomas's deal was. Because you said it still wasn't working, right? And we'd gone through everything else. And so this morning I was in my office, had a little bit of time. I'm like, wonder what's going on. Yup. It was shooting down to, yeah, no, if I could, I would. Anyway, so turning that off, then our stuff works. So we're going to get today into actually firing from these things that we picked up, which is kind of fun. There's lots of different ways to do it. We're going to use an actual physical object and like add force and propel it forward. We're going to have an actual bullet. So this would be great for a cannon or, close range combat, something like that. Lots of games do not do that. They're just going to add a particle that looks like a bullet, maybe, and they're going to use something more like a ray cast. And so the minute you press the fire button, it's going to cast a ray straight out and say, look, there's Samuel's head, right? And so it's going to immediately detect the collider on the other end and start to cause damage. The bad news is, unless you set a range on those rays, then I could shoot the moon from here instantly.
Setting a range on them just says it had it coming.
Huh?
Had it coming.
It had it coming. It had it coming. Yeah, the moon's been messing with me for a while. We had to take him out. little Majora's Mask reference there. Yeah, there we go. All right. Here's an old video. If you need it. Also, this video will be out there that we're currently streaming. But this is basically what we're going to do. Script something like this. We need this will be on the weapon, right? We're going to give it can I zoom in on that a little bit? There we go. That's kind of nice. Right? We're going to give it a prefab for the bullet. Just a game object, could be anything. We're going to give some force to it. Was a public float because we can actually add too much force and it clips through things because it went too fast. And then we need a transform to start from. So start bullet here. This could also be referred to as like the muzzle, the barrel, whatever. The point of origin. Firing point, yes. Yeah. Where it was before it went boom. the chamber? Maybe. So, all right, I'm just going to rip this guy. Here we go. And we're going to keep it as simple as possible, just calling it projectile. So I'm going to go back in here. I'm just going to make sure this works. My shotgun doesn't start in the middle of the floor. Trent's over there literally just playing his own game, having a good time.
It's not even that good.
So Trent's over there raging against his own game, not having a good time. All right, pick that up. Got it. Okay, so everything works. Nothing was static. We didn't start off in the middle of nothing. Cool. Okay, so on this one, not on the pickup. If we put this script on the pickup, we could kill ourselves. Right? If I haven't gone to pick up the pickup yet and I hit the fire button and it's pointing at me, we got problems. So we only want the script on the actual weapon in our hands. Unless you're just, building something completely insane. Oh, wait, that's what we do. Okay, so just on this one, I'm going to add a new script and then I'll move it later. So I'm going to add new script. We're going to call it fire or launch or whatever. Projectile. Another good name would just be yeet that. Whatever, as long as you understand what it's doing. We're propelling something forward. Yeah, you definitely want to, whatever your internal dialogue, whatever your lingo is, make sure you understand from the name of it what that script does. Because when you come back in here 6 months, 2 years later, you're like, what the heck is... Who knew? Naming things was important. All right, I'm going to grab all these scripts right here. And I'm going to move them into my scripts folder so that I don't make myself crazy. Which means I've probably lost the ones that were here. Yep. They're all gone. We'll find you again later. Goodbye. Okay. Now, back to my weapon. Fire projectile. We'll open that script up. If I didn't do anything else, I should just be able to copy paste all this in here because I'm a cheater. No, that's what kind of? I'm shortcutting. All right. So for now, I'm gonna hide that guy. We're gonna just comment out references to the GM. We're not there yet. And we'll walk through the code. So we kind of looked at it before. So I got a bullet, we got force, we got start bullet here, which we're gonna have to set up. So this will happen on whatever this object is on. If it is active in the scene, it will fire something. So, again, if you want the pickup to shoot at you as you're trying to go grab it, go off, have fun. But while the weapon is hidden in our hand, not a big deal. We're not shooting bullets from our fingers. It won't happen until the weapon's unhidden. So we've got this temporary bullet handler. We'll just call it a bullet handler. It's a little too verbose for me. This rigid body. I'm just renaming this to make it look better. These names don't matter. They're just bothering my eyes. Okay, as long as they all match. So I've got my bullet handler, which is just going to be the bullet, right? I need something. This creates an empty game object. We're just calling it the bullet or the bullet handler. Now, using that, I'm going to instantiate the prefab that I've got connected up here, whatever the bullet is. So it needs to be an object. I've got my start bullet here, which is the muzzle, the chamber, the barrel, whatever we want to call it. We're getting that transform position and rotation. And so that's where we're instantiating this. And then just in case, because sometimes we have to cast things. I don't know if we take this off, it's going to throw a fit. Sometimes it will, sometimes it won't. I'm going to put that back on there. So saying game object is this. By the way, when you're creating this, make sure it's a game object. So we're just kind of, it's system code safety there. And then from that, we're getting the rigid body, right? So we're making a temporary handler for the rigid body. We can do all this in one line. And saying, hey, this rigid body comes from the bullet. So get the rigid body off of the bullet. Then we're going to add force to it, starting with its transform dot forward, and then times the bullet force. So wherever it's at, facing forward, which is down the Z. So the positive Z axis on that bullet, we're applying the force. And then this we don't have to have if you like melting people's computers. So yeah, with this here, I could fire bullets all day long, and none of them are going to go away, right? So if I fired 1,000 shots, I've got 1,000 bullets rolling around or doing something, or even continuing to fly off into the distance if I gave them enough force, right? If I gave them so much force, then they could just keep going, flying off the map, falling into the ether, and then eventually you're going to have some frame rate problems. So this guy, again, I'm just saying, hey, destroy that bullet after 5 seconds. If you didn't blow something up after 5 seconds, the bullet's probably not any good. It didn't do its job. All right. Or the piece of toast, whatever we're launching. What do you launch from a Keyblade? Just energy blasts? More keys?
Refrigerators.
I think we should launch padlocks from the Keyblade. Is that insane? Maybe. If you like it. All right. Why not, right? It's self-propagating Keyblade. Okay. The padlock is what we're holding, and it's shooting Keyblades. Are they this? Anyway, never mind. We're getting too into the weeds. Okay, so we're going to save this as is, and then we need to do some setup over here in Unity. Did that compile? Is it here? Yes. All right, so we've got our fire projectile. We've got a default force of 100, but we can change that up, and then we've got start bullet here. We need to give it a transform. So I've saved all this to my basic player prefab. So if I dig into this in prefab mode, now I can add more stuff to it. So my shotgun, zoom in on that's this one. I need a point of origin for my bullets. If I've got, do I have anything on this shotgun? It's just here. There's no collider on it. There's nothing. So I could launch it from like back here, but it would appear back here and then fly forwards. But if I'm doing something really dumb, which I'm probably going to do, like use a really giant bullet, then it's going to look obvious when it starts back here and it's bigger around than my shotgun. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to, on this shotgun, I'm just going to game object, create empty child. And so I've got this transform, I don't know, what do we call this? Point of origin, right? So this is where it's going to start from. And we're using this transform when we instantiate our bullet. So its Z forward is already set up nicely for us. If it's not for you, you can turn that. Z forward is nice. It's already where we need it to be. And I'm just going to move this to sort of the end of that. Down. Actually, that kind of works. So I want it right at the end. If you want to get really, really crazy and legit have a double barrel, then go off. But we're not. I'm just going to launch something from the middle here. I'm just trying to center this as good as I can on the end of that barrel. Okay, so we've got our point of origin. And so I'm going to give that to my, I didn't save that part. Okay, this is on autosave, that's good. Let me go back here. And so this is a prefab of the prefab, whatever. But so the things that I added in here didn't get saved. So I'm going to come into this, override. I added the script, it didn't get applied. So I'm going to apply that. So now all DET players with shotguns have the script. And then if I go back into the prefab, it's there. And now I can drag the point of origin to the start bullet here, or whatever set of names you decided. Now all I need is a bullet. So let's see, what did we get in our starter pack? We could shoot knives out of it. That'd be fun. We could fire skulls. Just shoot bear traps out of the, yeah, obviously. Ooh, look at this broken bottle. That looks nice. Looks like a good thing to shoot. We just fire coins out of it. Shot the cowboy out. That's, actually I'm thinking the hat right now. Just to be absolutely insane. Okay, so I'm going to do this. I'm going to drag the hat out here. Or you can go find, there's like, does this one have it? I don't see it. There are packs with little bombs and balls, and you can find a bullet prefab, you can find whatever. We're friendly haberdashers, and we are trying to give hats to all of our friends, and that's what this weapon is for. So I've got a hat. He's got nothing on him. We are going to absolutely need a rigid body on him, or we can't apply force to him. So that's there. I'm going to leave gravity on so that eventually it'll like start to fall, right? And not just keep going forever or just stop in midair because it got tired. So I'm going to leave the gravity on, and we're going to give him a little bit of, I'll just put a sphere collider around him, I think. Okay, and not is trigger. We want this thing to like smack into stuff. And so that is our hat. Let me just zoom in on that guy. And let's see what way he's going to fire. Right. So again, our point of origin on the projectile is going to start and move down the Z, and then this is going to move along the Z-axis. So if you've got an object that isn't right, then you'll need to child it and move it around and stuff. Yes.
So when we're actually shooting the bullet with the Rigidbody, do we need to turn off the gravity so that way it's not
No, that's what I was saying. We're going to leave the gravity on, so the force is going to work until it runs out, and then we're going to see it arc or fall down or whatever. If we turn the gravity off completely, then it'll just keep flying. It's okay because we're going to delete it eventually anyway. But since I'm firing such a big thing, I wanted to see it fall and get a better idea of what the amount of force is doing. In the
yeah, shot right there. And the prefabs when we are not.
oh, what's this guy? Oh, okay. Except he's facing the wrong way. If I fired this, it would literally go this way. That's fun. So it's a bunch of dummies. Okay. Let's see what we can do with that. Actually, you know what? Let's go ahead and use this because I want to show you how to turn that guy around. So we've got this shot guy. Maybe I'll write some code, and sometimes I shoot the bullet, sometimes I shoot the hat. It's just a random generator. Who knows? We'll leave the hat where it's at. But yeah, that one's fun. Let's go ahead and use that since it's here. So he's got an animator on him. What is this guy set up for? No, I didn't want that. Effects. I don't want that. So thanks. I'm going to remove the animator. Okay, now I'm going to set just this outer guy up with a rigid body first. Same deal. We'll leave the gravity on. We won't change any of that stuff. And let me see. Yeah, we'll do another sphere collider, and we'll just let the back end of that be effect. Yeah, that's too big. No big deal. All right, so I'm going to take the radius down and sort of encompass the bullety area. Yeah? All right, let's just go ahead and see what that one does without any changes. So I'm going to go to my prefabs. I'm going to make this a new prefab. Okay, and so I don't even need that in my scene anymore. He's just going to hang out over here. He's not doing anything. So I come with my basic player, again, go into prefab mode, and then I need to give this prefab to it. And again, this doesn't have to exist in my scene now. It can just be a prefab that I drug in from somewhere else. All right, let's see what happens. Force, yeah, I think everything should, I think we hooked everything up.
Oh my
Bink,
Oh, look at those little gum
It's like candy corn.
take that!
Here they go.
And then they eventually disappear. Okay, so, what do we have it at? 100? Not enough force. Unless we're just giving away candy gumdrops. Are they launching up? Yeah, so we got lots of problems here. Cool, that gives us stuff to fix. All right. Oops. How in the what with the Aha, there we go. Switching to local, I can see that, yeah, that is this way. So that's why it's launching straight up. It's trying to go along the Z. So we got to move this guy around a bunch. Let me go into this prefab and figure out what in the actual heck. If I grab all of his chillins and rotate them that way, yeah. Rotating. Hold down control, then it'll snap a little bit. Is that right? Sort of. So I might have over rotated. No, maybe. Looks better. But I can see this Z axis is forward now. So that may be what I wanted to do. Yeah, looks fine. Maybe that sphere collider is a bit big still. So I'm going to go back into this mode. We'll just change the radius down some more. Okay. Move it up. Z. Just kind of center it. It's all right. We'll get the idea. So I moved it around, changed it a little bit. All right, so that prefab is now changed. Since I did it in prefab mode, all prefabs that are going to be changed are changed. We'll see if the fire's better. We'll at least check the direction, and then we'll add more force instead of just giving away gumdrops. Okay, and then well, it's going the right way now. Yeah, we just happen to be facing the same. Let's go. All right, basic player. I'll go into prefab mode so we save this. Well, if 100 was that, then let's at least go 1,000, right? At least. And then they roll into the corner. Some of them go through the wall. If you fire fast enough. Okay, so maybe 1,000 even isn't even enough.
If you go 5,000,
5,000 is pretty good.
I just set it to a velocity and then go and by default it's still 100, so they just like spawn and disappear instantly.
That's the other thing. Hey, let's do that. Make sure your prefab isn't static, or you're just going to stack a bunch of bullets in front of your gun, which is fun.
Just removing 100 meters per second.
All right, we're going to go. We can change this up, and again, I'm changing it for the prefab when I do it this way. So 5,000 was what Parker said. I don't know if I have anything in here with rigid bodies. Now that I've got it shooting kind of okay. Yeah, that looks good. I need to knock something down. Where's all my crates and barrels? Okay. Yeah, so if you give them too much force, they'll go too fast, right? And so you've got it. There we go. I'm bank shotting a little bit.
So they're bouncing off of the things that it's just
Yeah.
in the frames.
Well, sometimes they're bouncing and sometimes they're clipping through just because, right? If the force is too much and it's going too fast, there's things we can do with our collision detection. We'll just look at that while we're here. So collision detection is discrete, okay? That's what it's set at. So discrete, and then it just talks about various modes. Thanks for that. You can give me a hint here? So the continuous dynamic, continuous speculative. Let's just go ahead and look that up. All right. So discrete, slow-moving collisions. That's not what we've got with a 5,000 force. Okay. Continuous speculative. So fast-moving. So if we change this to continuous speculative, it's going to work out. It might be a little bit more intensive. So if we've got 100 players in here and we're using continuous speculative, it might freak the engine out a little bit, but it's not going to be too bad with us just running around shooting at random stuff. Faster moving collisions that require physical bodies that only collide with static colliders. So continuous seems all right. Collisions that happen as a result of the physics body rotating, it's not useful for. Since we've got a sphere collider on it, might not be as great. Linear collisions, not good for rotating. So let's go continuous speculative, and let's see if they've got better information on that. Detection mode. All right, so it's general. So continuous speculative is cheaper than the other continuous modes. Handles angular motion better. High-speed objects may still be tunneling through other geometries. And so the speculative, I believe, and maybe it was on that page before here, just says less of an impact. So it's gonna try and math ahead. And so not just wait for it, but the speculative means, look, if I get a couple frames in, like where is it going to be? So it's trying to compensate. So we'll go ahead and change that to the continuous speculative and see what that does for us. Also, if you don't want to, let's go back into prefab mode here. There we go. Speculative. If you don't want it to roll, we can freeze rotations, make it where it only spirals. We can do other stuff with this, especially since it's got a trail on it. Just never let it roll at all. But then we're just going to have this thing like banking off the wall with its little tail. We'll see what it looks like. We're just going to freeze the rotations and see what kind of nonsense we've come up with. We're banking. Nice. Okay. Bing, and then they fall down. This is fun. Okay, now I want to do a billiards game where I have a shotgun instead of a pool cue. Do bank shots. Good stuff. Yeah, just goofy stuff. And I can change it up, right? So at any time, I can just take my hat here that I already set up. Oop, don't want him to be static. And then we'll change him to continuous speculative, and we'll let him rotate because we think it's cool. Make a new prefab for the hat projectile, and then just go switch this guy up. Huh?
That was slightly tangential.
Is it ridiculous?
It has to do with it a little bit. So I would notice the thing was like when you walk up to the wall, push the gun kind of like flips into
Mm-hmm.
I think I've heard like is the solution like basically they render the gun with a different camera or something and like
That's what they've done in the past, or we can just literally. Do you have colliders or anything on the gun? Because I don't.
no, but I mean I
Yeah.
feel like that could cause other issues though.
So in the past, yeah, so like your dooms and things like that. Yeah.
Oh, there you go.
This is
But, like,
love it.
That is
Awesome.
awesome.
Somebody up there is like, where's all that's coming from? Yeah, so modern. I think in a more modern shooter, and I'm speculating because I haven't worked on one. I need to contact one of my alums who does work on those. I'm guessing they just put some kind of physical clipping on the gun, or at least something out far enough in front of the player to keep you from clipping your whatever weapon you're holding into the
I
wall.
think they use two different guns. They use one from the camera, like the player's perspective, and then one from the game's perspective, so that when you're clipping, you can clip outside your perspective, but not inside your
Yeah.
perspective.
Sometimes it's a design choice too. Like,
Yeah,
you
'cause
want
like-
you to be able to like put your gun away and you can go to the wall.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Some
like
of them
a
do
physical
that.
animation or something.
Yeah, no,
There's
there's
a lot of different
lots of
solutions.
things you can do, right? We
I mean,
we could spend the rest of the semester engineering a perfect system for
I'm sure someone gets paid a salary. to do
yeah, yeah. So one of our graduates she's a producer, so she doesn't actually get into all of the code of like make this work, but she works at is it Ravenloft, one of the subsidiaries of a company that makes Call of Duty games. Yeah, fun stuff. All right, I'm going to just to be sure we got this working right. Just going to add some. So this has got a mesh collider on it. If I make that convex and then give it a rigid body, then I can knock that around. Same thing. So that's the thing with these pro builders. They don't know what you're going to do with it, so they just put a standard mesh collider on everything, right? So this could obviously be a box collider because it's a cube, but Pro Builder doesn't know ahead of time. It doesn't have speculative collision creation, so it doesn't know. So I could just make this convex, or I could take that off and add a box collider. Either way. So now these things I should be able to knock around, and then I'll show you something else completely ridiculous. So remember this guy, if I run into him, then I go to the next level, right? Okay, so what if I tagged my bullet? We're using the hat projectile now, right? What if I tagged my bullet as a player?
Oh, that's
Then if I shoot the thing, I go to the next level, right? So this is all based on tags. It's not literally looking for a player. It's just looking for something that's got a tag on it. So now I'm going to accidentally go to the next level if I hit that with my hats. All right, let's see. Oh, not yet? Okay, well, we'll see. We'll get up there. Just picturing just like tons of hats bouncing around and eventually hitting it. Okay, these should be, yep, you can knock those over.
And there we go.
Yep, buy a hat, and then boom. I go to the next level because I oopsed. And actually, yeah, since I did all that in prefab mode, then my player has magical shotgun abilities in the next level too. This is the worst level ever. Your second levels better be better than this. All right, what else are we going to mess with today?
Weapon swapping.
Ooh, yeah, we can do that.
We should add full-on multiplayer.
Next week.
Really?
Local multiplayer. Yeah,
Wait,
Yeah.
really?
yeah.
I was wondering how you do that because you can only have one main camera at a time.
No, you can. You can have lots of cameras. Next week, we're going to go crazy with cameras.
Also, you only have to spawn one camera on the building. You just have to save it back.
Heck the server. We're doing this locally. Split screen, Nintendo 64, GoldenEye. Let's do this. No, yeah. The way it's supposed to be.
Are we actually making a dumb AI with the math mix?
Yeah, we're going to do some AI stuff. All right, so we've got all this. We've got things we can shoot at. Yeah, we want to start blasting, obviously. Oh, we want to fix the rest of our script. So that's the other thing we want to do is at least count our shots for now. How many shots were fired? Or how many hats or however many pieces of toast we launched from the toaster, things like that. So we're going to move on to 2 weapon pickups. So yes, we're going to get into weapon switching. Let's open up that guy. Bullets delete themselves, and then we'll get. So once we finish that part out, we'll get into nav meshes. Maybe today. Who knows? All right. Back to Unity. Okay, so I need a game manager. And I'm going to need something to keep track of stuff. And I'm just, I don't know, basic enough. Everyone does it this way, but I like it. So I'm going to go ahead and just create from here a game object, UI, text mesh pro. That will create a canvas for me. Now I've got to import text mesh pro essentials. Not a big deal. You don't need the examples and extras. So now I've got a canvas, and I'll just use the canvas to hold my game manager. Lots of people will just also, or instead, they'll create an empty, right? And just call him game manager. But now he lives in this level. I can set him to transverse levels, or I can have him be part of the canvas. But this empty guy set at, we'll just reset the guy 000. Doesn't do anything but hold our script for the game manager. That's totally legit. So you might find the game manager as an object in the level, or just as a script attached to the canvas. Either way, it's all good. I think I'll just attach it to the canvas for now. So come down here to scripts. I'll make it down here. Create mono behavior script. Instead of calling out C# script, they changed that. I wonder if there's changes on the horizon. So game manager, game assistant to the regional manager, game Mr. Manager, whatever you want to call it. Yeah. CEO of gameplay. Whatever. Call it something. All right, so I'm going to add the game manager. This, who doesn't do anything yet. Dun, dun, dun. Forgot we've got to compile an empty script. All right. You don't. That's one way to do it. Sorry, I was just, I'm demonstrating like 3 things at once because I don't know if the coffee's good, but either way you want to do it. You can put the game manager on, I guess you could put it on the player. That might be weird, but most conventions are either just throw it on the canvas or make an empty for it. So we've got it on here. Let's open this guy up. And let's see what we gave ourselves. So I've got, that's the weapon swapping. We'll get to that. Dun, dun, dun. Oh, it's probably in the projectiles. Yep, there it is on the canvas. So we're going to need TM Pro, our shot count, Text Mesh Pro. Yeah, easy peasy stuff. Just this is what I needed to remember because that's a big old honking mess of something. All right, we'll go back to our script. Look at that. So I need a couple of things. So I'm going to go ahead and public this or serialized field if that's what you want to do. We're going to make it an int. Call it shots fired. And we'll set that to 0. And then a public text mesh pro UGUI. Oof. Call it whatever. Shot counter, shot display. Nothing we need to do in start yet. And again, this is the cheap way because we're just trying. Well, I want to get to nav mesh agents. So on update, every frame we're going to check. Hey, what's our int? Shots fired. Cool. Put that on the screen. We're redrawing the screen every time anyway. It's not too terrible. No, it kind of sucks. There's better ways, but this is how we're going to do it for now. So I'm going to take shots display dot text, set that to something cool. Shots fired. And then how did we decide was the best way to do this last time? String concatenation using this, or yeah, that'll work. Yes, 2-string. Because literally, otherwise, you might get shots fired and then like the memory address of that int. It's really weird. Okay, so on update, we're going to display the number of shots fired. Cool. Save this script. We'll go back to fire projectile, and then the stuff we had in here before, we will undo. Uncomment. So we need a game manager. Again, I didn't put any note here, public or private, so by default it's private. And I'm going out to find the object called canvas. I could also just hook this up the same way I did this, public game object, game manager, and then like hook it up in the inspector. But this is just, I don't know. I do things multiple ways, so you can see that there's multiple ways to do them, which may be more confusing, but you'll get there. All right, and then figure out what I called that. Shots fired. So then all I'm doing is I've got my game manager on start for the shotgun, for just the weapon itself. I find the game manager, get a handle on him, and then every time that fire happens, then I'm incrementing this integer over in the game manager, saying, hey, add 1 to that. Hey, add 1 more. Easy peasy. Let's just make sure it doesn't look like trash here in Unity. Just let me, there we go. Ugh. All right, we're back. Okay. If I go to 2D up here, then I can see that it's already hanging off the screen. Super nice. And it's a tiny little guy. rename this so I know what it's doing. I'm going to use these guys up here. And for now, again, just top corner. So doing a shift and alt and clicking that, and that's moving it up to there and setting its pivot point. So I'm just going to move him out a little bit. Just go 100 by negative 100 here. So he's up in the corner. He's always going to be 100 pixels, or points in this case, because we don't know if we're going to be doing 4K or whatever. So he's going to be up in the corner, but not completely up in the corner. And now we need to tell our script what's what. So here we go, shots display. It just needs to know, hey, which text mesh label am I updating? There it is. We start at 0. Everything should be hunky-dory. Why are we counting the number of shots? Because we don't have anything else to count yet. That's why. So shots fired is 0. It's a tiny little guy up there. You can see it. You can change that to hats fired. Where those are landing. What do I got to do to hit the targets from here? Yeah.
Use that to move
You're not being tiny one.
Probably too much force. All right. Anyway, so that's 70 shots fired. Yeah, we could do that. Something to note. So because I put all the stuff on my DET basic player prefab, then it carried over to the second level. I don't have a prefab for my canvas, but I could and I should. Let me show you some hiccups with that. So if I make this canvas a prefab, if I rename him, then my script isn't going to work. So I'm just going to leave him named canvas. And then I come over here to the next scene for level 2. Yeah, save everything. Oh, I just said rip. Okay. You ever click the wrong button? Oops. So there's canvas. I'm going to drag it in here. Does anybody know already what the problem is going to be? Sort of. Actually, let's look. So the canvas is here. It knows what the display is, the text.
Does it have to do with the game manager registering in a different scene?
No. Let's look. So it looks like it's there. It says new text. Let's just play this level. All right, so we got nothing. Huh? It updated. It knows shots fired. That's cool. Let's see. What? It just worked? Well, that ruined my whole spiel. Forget it. All right.
What was gonna be wrong with it?
Well, so usually, I don't know what happened. That's weird as heck. Usually, I don't even see it. How is this working? Classic programmer problems, right? Like it works and it shouldn't. I don't know what I did wrong. Let me go back to the other. Just save this guy. Ruined my whole spiel.
Is that like a new Unity thing?
Apparently they fixed it for me. Rewind in the thing. So now if I just drag it out, what the fudge?
advance of the world.
Everything's fine. So the first time I created this guy, watch what happened. I said, UI, give me a Text Mesh Pro object. It added this thing that we hardly ever look at called an event system. And it's just here. It's hanging out. It's translating things back and forth to the canvas. Maybe, I don't know. I don't know why it's not. I don't know what. I literally don't know why it's working. Any other time I've tried this in the past, it wouldn't work because I only had the canvas as the prefab and the event system wasn't part of it, and the canvas wouldn't work without an event system. Now, it magically works, and I look like a fool. So, thanks, Unity.
They're just like
Appreciate
the
you.
event system is just there for you to interact with the.
Yeah, it used to be a hard, like, it just wouldn't work. And so now I don't even know. Whatever. Heck these guys. I'm going to delete that.
like did it maybe like it didn't spawn it in automatically, right?
No, it didn't make one when I drug the thing in. So, but I'm going to make this part of the. Just going to make the event system part of the canvas. Wrong way. Go up to canvas, overrides, apply all. Now it's there. Now I'm going to have something to look up later and be like, why did that blow up in my face? Because I was being all smug, like, look, guys, it's not going to work. And then it worked. I'm like, oh, I'm an idiot. Yeah.
Why did that?
Yeah. You made me look stupid by making it work. Yeah, it's the worst. All right. Here we go. Let's go to, let's just try a nav mesh agent. Why not? Just a quick nav mesh agent. Right? We got time. We got a whole 20 minutes. Oh, no, we wanted to do this. Dang it all. Okay, you know what we should though. All right. We want to switch weapons. So I'm just going to drag all this stuff on the inside and we will look at it all. And this is too much. It's crazy. Back to Unity. All right, we'll get to nav mesh agents later. Okay, I need another weapon. I'm back in level 1. Don't want to be 2D. Was Yoda the cat the one who gave us? No, that was the bread. That's our bullet for later. There's a toaster somewhere in here. Appliances. Toaster. Prefab. Huzzah. Okay. Weak sauce. We're going to double the size at least. The betrayal. Just the betrayal. No, that's a thing, but we want to use what we're learning in class. So for your second weapon, that's fine. Have at least one weapon that follows what we did. And we're going to try and reuse this as much as possible. So I've got a toaster. I've blown it up to twice the size. We'll drag him over here. We don't want to make our player go too far before he becomes overpowered. He's already got a box collider on him. Set that to his trigger. We'll add in the, what we call it, pickup, weapon, something. Weapon pickup. It's a weapon pickup. And we'll add a dance. I didn't spell it right, though. It's dance. Pickup Denos. We'll add that. So we're already starting to get set up. Now let me go hit my prefab. And we'll give him a toaster too. So as a child of camera, we've also got a toaster. Hide the shot. Well, we'll leave the shotgun out there for now. And we'll just start moving the toaster forward. somewhere. Where are you at, toaster? Kind of like that. Dual wheeled. Hmm. Okay, so it's bigger. Man, this is tough. How do you make it like obvious that you've got a toaster if you can't see the barrel? Like what's
You should rotate it on the Y a little bit.
Oh, there's a lever on the other side. Perfect. Wrong one. Blarg. We're gonna go into the scene. Here we go. Yeah, the Y. Why didn't that work?
Because it was already angled. So you saw it.
All right. Something like that. So fine tune. Actually, I kind of like it angled out a little bit. Let's go -5 on that. Just playing. That'll work. And then we want to move it over a bit. Back and forth, back and forth. All right. Kind of like that. Those was having the same basic spot. And then we'll need to give it a fire projectiles. We'll need a different script instead of the weapon pickup, but we'll get to that. And then we just need to come up with he needs a firing point. So we'll give him empty child. Move that. All right, are we on local? We're on local. So we'll take the food origin, spin it around. We're going to rotate him again. We want that Z going forward. So we're going to go -90 here. That should launch toast. Same problem as the shotgun. We've got a double barrel weapon, but I'm only going to launch one piece of bread at a time. It's going to ruin the immersion. People are going to completely downvote us on Steam. It's going to be the worst. And I just need toast. There's URP. Okay. Prefabs. Come on, come on. No, didn't want to do it there. All right, go backwards. Luckily, his Y is already pointed nicely. We might have to rotate him a little bit later. And then we'll just move him, we'll give him he needs a rigid body and a box collider, right? Might be more trouble to set up the second weapon than to set up the swapping. We've got a toast bullet. Need these guys in the scene. Now the problem is going to be I don't have anything to switch. So if I grab the shotgun first, then I'm going to end up with two things. Just take this toaster prefab, drag it to this weapon pickup. It's called shotgun. We can change that later. Let's just make sure we're firing toast. Then we'll see about swapping. I did want to grab the shotgun, so and around. Go. Huzzah. Oh. Cinnamon Toast Crunch. What's happening? So I need bigger toast, and we need to rotate them a little bit, and more force. Why are you trying to make me hungry? This is so rude.
Why you are horrible?
Yeah, no, it's my bad. All right, we wanted to rotate him. First, we want to scale him, so let's put him at least 3 times bigger. That's what I'm thinking. We can pull down later, and then he needs to rotate on the Z by 90. Yeah. But will he? No, because we're giving him. Oh, here's the problem. All right, here we go. I'll bet it doesn't. I'll bet it doesn't. Okay, let me go to my toaster prefab, inside my player prefab, and only 4,000. Right? This isn't as powerful as a shotgun. Yeah, we want some reality in this, obviously. Don't think my toast is going to turn, so this is just another opportunity to learn about all that. We'll just jump over this. There we go. Avoiding the shotgun. What just happened? Oh,
Wait,
yeah. So because I think my toaster had some physics on him, like he's got a box collider, and so when I spawned the toast, it spun me around. I think. Just gonna stand still. We're here and click. Ah! Ironically, you know what's good for nausea? Toast. Yeah, I don't even know what to do with my life now.
Maybe just aim the toast at yourself then.
Maybe I did. Maybe I accidentally shot myself. I don't know what happened. All right, toaster prefab. It's got a box collider. Let's just take that guy off. Oh, what a tangled web we weave. Okay, let's see. Okay, so we're yeeting toast way too fast, and it didn't turn. It is. It's somehow that point is not away from our toaster.
Is it
You can
the
see it.
toaster Z is
Is it firing the right way?
this is like going up.
So it's already like it's kind of angled at 45, so it's going to look a little weird. Oh, I could also do the continuous on there. That would be helpful. Man's a cheater. Let's do it. There we go. So from discrete to continuous speculative on the toast bullet. So yes, I could change that. Could change the origin of the toast, but to Brady's point, we could also just move the food origin by 90. And apparently out. So this is right inside. Let me just come out a little bit. And then rotate on the Z by 90. So maybe that'll work. And then I want to see what the origin point is for the bread. It's right in the middle. So it launches on its origin point on the origin point we gave it. So it was inside the toaster because its origin is up here. So we just need to move that origin out for our food origin. Just bring that out a little bit more. That's what was kicking us around. Spawn a super powerful piece of toast inside your toaster. Not shocked. Like, really. No, it makes sense. I think 4,000 might be too powerful for toast, too. Okay, well, we're gonna have a lot to do on Thursday because we're squirreling pretty hard.
We find the perfect velocity. You just start from one, you scale up more there each side until you eventually get the perfect velocity.
That'd take a long time.
Actually, 1,000's pretty good. Yeah, this is launching kind of nicely.
When the toast collides, you should make it do a nuclear explosion on the map.
No, now I want to fight a peanut butter monster. Like, I really do. We didn't tag those bullets, player. We're not that dumb. Okay, that works. Let's see. I don't have anything on for switching. It's 10:45. So right now, I just end up with toast hat. All right.
What? That's
Let's call it a win. Call it a win. All right. We're going to cut it there because we have chapel coming up. I need to mentally prepare. Yeah. Yes. Yeah, across the hall. No AI images. Yeah. So this guide, yes, absolutely. This guy we'll look at. Yeah, we'll look at it Thursday, and then we'll finish that up, and we'll get it in the AbMesh agents.
I think they just reinvented to buy the toasters to sell more toast.
So get it where you can have double weapons, and then we'll make it where we can't dual wield again later. Cool.